Would you like to be somebody who understands how to fix their insecurities? Then listen to this whole video where I explain where insecurities come from originally and how you can reduce them and actually fix them. So before we get into this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to learn more about self-development, dating, and how to reduce suffering in life. Let's get into it. So, insecurities are manifestations of feeling uncertain or anxious about ourselves, like we feel like we're not good enough, and we question our own value and competence in any possible aspect, really. And we might be insecure about our intelligence, believing we're not intelligent enough for like school or university. We might be insecure about our body, thinking we don't look fit enough, we're not sexy enough, and we might be insecure about our car or our clothes, thinking they are not cool enough, for example. These are just random examples. And these insecurities are quite common amongst people. I would say the vast majority of humans are insecure about something in their lives. And it almost seems like an inherent aspect of human existence, which is that we just feel inadequate in some sort of way. Now, what I have observed is that insecurities stem from a deep internal psychological root. They are the manifestation of this root, this like emotional wound within you. And something may have happened when you were a kid in your childhood that left a deep emotional wound, and that wound still hurts you today. And you try to mask it and protect it from revealing itself by setting up an ego or arrogance, for example. Now, like the ego and arrogance might shield the insecurity that is rooted in the wound, like you're protecting it, for example. And the reason it still hurts you is because it has never been healed and processed properly. And well, it's understandable why that probably is a relatively frequent thing, that the wound is still there, is because nobody really teaches us how to fix insecurities and how to handle them. So of course most people don't ever really, or a lot of people don't ever really process their insecurities and the root of their insecurities. And here's just an example of like what might have happened. Let's say it was your 7th birthday and you were so excited to wear your lovely dress that you planned out for your birthday party, so you were really excited about it and you couldn't wait to wear it. And then the day of your birthday party came around and you put on your dress and run to go and show your parents, and you were so proud of your dress, and then your dad looks at you and says he thinks the dress is ugly for some reason. And your dad has always been sort of a bit insensitive, but that really hurt you because you were so proud of your dress and how you looked and you thought you were so pretty, and then your father just bashes it. And that really hurt you. Firstly because, yeah, you really liked the dress, and then it was your father who you glorified naturally, and your father disapproved of you. And kids always want love and validation, basically because it's a survival instinct. If kids are left alone, they die because they are fully dependent on their parents. Hence they try to behave in a way that they seek validation and love from their parents, so their parents stick around and take care of the kid. So kids want love and validation, and if their parents don't give it, they can easily feel like their existence isn't good enough and not valuable enough, and hence they build a feeling of inadequacy. Because if they were good enough, they would receive more attention, more love, more validation from their parents. Because, if you think about yourself, who do you give attention to? Well, the people who are valuable in your life. So the kids obviously think then, okay, because I'm not getting enough attention, I'm not valuable enough. And then some insecurity about their own self-value sort of arises. Thus they feel insecure about their fundamental value. Let's say you grow up then with an insecurity about your clothes and your looks, because that incident with your father traumatized you and stuck with you. And trauma is a common root of insecurities because trauma leaves a deeply embedded pain that really sticks because it's so powerful. And now you are always so focused on wearing smart, pretty clothes, always seeking the validation from men because you maybe didn't get it from your father. No, so you don't dare to leave the house without putting any makeup on and dressing smartly because you feel insecure, because you feel if you'd go outside in like jogging pants, people wouldn't value you. They would think you're not enough, and you don't think your existence is good enough. Then, so you have to derive your self value from your clothes and the way you look. Yeah. Now, the key to overcoming insecurity, this is the punchline of the video, is to become conscious of its root. Now, you need to decipher why you are insecure about something and bring the cause of your insecurity into your consciousness. Like, you need to become aware of it. Then you must accept the root of your insecurity. And that will be quite difficult, obviously, because the root will entail something that is painful and left a wound, because it hurts you. So one needs to be aware of that. And once you are conscious of the cause, then you need to sort of pull it out of your conscious and place it in your hands, sort of figuratively speaking. And that's quite powerful and relieving, because then you can tangibly see and logically comprehend why this cause made you insecure about something. And it will no longer govern your behavior, because you can see how it functions consciously, and hence you're consequently consciously able to control it, because you can like bring it out of your unconscious into your conscious and just like look at it and see, okay, like I understand why I was insecure, but like this isn't me, this, I can transcend this. Whereas beforehand, it was in your unconscious, you were unaware of it, and it was controlling you. Additionally, you no longer characterize yourself with that insecurity. It no longer governs your personality, which is an amazingly and valuable of a realization, because you can see that the insecurity stems from some external circumstance that you experienced, which is not you. It doesn't characterize you. Hence, you can move beyond it and transcend it, and that is a truly powerful feeling. It gives you an accurate sense of that you are more in control of your behavior and anxiety, and that the root cause of your insecurity is not part of your genes, is not who you are. It's transcendable, really, and that's a very empowering realization. And you may ask, well, how do you figure out the cause of your insecurity? I mean, I'm not a psychologist by all means, so I don't have empirical professional advice to give you. However, from experience, a good way to find out the root of your insecurities is to be conscious of how you feel when you think about certain people or experiences in your past. When thinking about a person or a situation in the past, you need to be aware of how you feel, and if you sense some sort of emotion boiling or moving within you, that means you haven't processed what happened, and then hence neither have you accepted what happened. And that's a good place to sort of dig at and sort of try and figure out more. And I can give you a tip that probably some insecurities stem from your family and upbringing. Family relationships are a classic common realm where traumas can occur. Think about how you truly consciously feel about your parents, especially. Because kids glorify their parents, hence the way they behave towards us and treat us like our parents has a monumental impact on us. Thus, thinking about your relationship to your parents is a safe bet when searching for the roots of insecurities. And a definite supporter in understanding the roots of insecurities is your ability for self-consciousness and self-reflection, because you need to be able to pinpoint the root and be aware of it. And your brain will try to rationalize, for example, why your parents are perfect and awesome, because it is trying to avoid pain, because, well, it's painful to acknowledge that your parents are flawed and may have produced a lot of suffering in your life. And all kids want to defend their parents instinctively, but if you dig deeper, you start to unravel the dark, dark realms of family dynamics. So you need this sort of sensitive ability for self-consciousness, because your own brain will try to deceive you and rationalize why your parents are good. You need a sensitive kind of consciousness that lets you detect the slightest resistance or emotion within you whilst you're rationalizing. And I'm not saying you cannot do it without consciousness. You can do it with like low levels of consciousness, but it is certainly harder, and it helps you if you are more self-reflective and conscious. I mean, I always considered myself a very self-reflective, self-conscious person, but it was only recently that a week ago that I figured out or concluded that most of my insecurities actually stem from one person in my life. And I only realized that with the help of another person who guided me through a self-reflection. The other person asked me open-ended questions and let me answer them. The person guided me and listened attentively, and they were able to detect the anger that was sort of unconsciously coming out of me whilst I spoke about this person. And I would no way have found the root of my insecurities without this person. So I can really recommend that technique of having an external person asks you questions and guide you, like a therapist or even a friend. And they need to be understanding, they need to let you do the talking and ask you open questions without shoving you in a direction. That's really important. Hence, in conclusion, you can fix your insecurities by finding the root cause of them, which is usually a deeply embedded wound that stems from something that happened in your past or from a person in your past, very often family members, and that caused some sort of trauma within you. And then you need to become conscious of the root, and that lets you bring it out of your unconsciousness into your consciousness and sort of observe it objectively and realize that it doesn't govern your life. You can transcend it. It is not who you are. And that's a very empowering feeling and realization. And you can do this by, you can find the root of your insecurities by thinking about experiences in your past, like prominent experiences and people in your past, and of noticing whether they still produce an emotional response in your body and your brain. And if they do, it means they left a mark or a wound that has not been processed and is very likely the root or a root of an insecurity within you, potentially. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to learn more about self-development, dating, and how to reduce suffering in life. Thank you for listening. That was it.